Well, to discuss, France 24's foreign affairs editor Armen Georgian is on the line. Armen, so Buzyn resigned a few weeks before the WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic. So why is she being called to answer questions?
Well, she's been called by the Court of the Republic, which means that she will have to answer questions this Friday. She has not been placed under formal investigation, but this court summons doesn't come out of nowhere, Nadia. There's been a Senate committee in place for more than a year that's been investigating the early response within the French government to this pandemic. Agnes Buzyn certainly isn't the only person who was heard by that Senate committee. She actually appeared before that committee a year ago, and other senior officials have been heard. But for critics, Buzyn is emblematic of those early failures, particularly the failure to stock masks and the failure to shut down travel between France and Wuhan. And she has come to be haunted by a phrase that she used during that period when she said the risk of importing cases from Wuhan was practically zero. And it's that practically zero that the media keep trotting out this quote, even though she says it was taken out of context, but it's done huge damage to her political career. She then had a very unsuccessful run to try to become mayor of Paris.
And Armen, you know, supporters of Buzyn will say she's been made a scapegoat here. What do you make of that?
Well, opinion polls suggest that the French public has not been very impressed by the French government's response to this crisis. They've been a lot more positive in opinion polls about how their local elected officials have reacted, particularly mayors, and also for those French people who work in a company, opinion polls again show that they've been quite positive about how their company has adapted to this new situation, new working methods and so forth. But the government's response has left people quite underwhelmed. And that's not really surprising because at so many twists and turns of this crisis, Nadia, the government told the French public, well, we're going to try this new thing now. So unfortunately, the curfew, the 9 p.m. curfew didn't work as well as we hoped. We're going to try a 6 p.m. curfew, or we're going to try a new test, trace and isolate scheme, which hopefully will finally start turning the corner on this crisis. And at every step, the results basically the results didn't deliver what they had hoped to deliver, and so of course people have become pretty weary with the government response. There was more criticism early this year because of the slow rollout of the vaccine, where that has now changed, obviously. But President Macron's party, the ruling party here in France, received really two very big setbacks in the municipal and regional elections, and that has got to be linked to the handling of this health crisis. It's not the only factor, but it must have been part of it. What pollsters are saying is that what essentially Macron is being helped by is the fact that the opposition to Macron is so divided, so fractured. The challengers to him on the right can't get together they can't rally around a single candidate. And meanwhile, the left is extremely divided. So pollsters are saying that he might slip through essentially by default in the presidential elections next year, perhaps because, as I'm suggesting, opponents can't agree on a candidate who could really hammer this administration with how it's responded to COVID-19.
All right, Armen Georgian, thanks very much indeed. And we'll see what happens tomorrow when that court inquiry does get underway.